Anyway, guys, I feel this is important information you guys should know. D-Boss is a noob. Alright, just getting that out of the way, every commentary. Let's go ahead and move on to the 1 minute mark on the replay at the 1x speed. From Eboon's point of view, sorry, my talking's like all messed up right now, and the Fog of War on as always. I got a good PM on WC3A. It was actually sent like in May, but I only saw it like today, and it was a guy at the time. He only had ROC. He was going to get TFT after the end of his college term, and that he wanted to know more about sort of like the meta game of Warcraft rather than specific micros, because you couldn't see the game, and people can see the game and the micro for themselves. So why am I talking about it? Why am I explaining that? Because you can see that and decipher it for yourself. It's the invisible aspects that I really should be talking about, and that's pretty cool. That's something that I'll try to work on and try to do. And if not, well, I guess that there's a total of one thing that Cygnus is better than me on. Since I own him at Warcraft, I guess he might be better than me at commentaries, but you never know. Maybe I'll just be better than him overall. Anyway, let's go ahead and unpause this one. We are at the 1 minute mark from Eboon's point of view. Let's go ahead and unpause, and this will be a normal pace this time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. So, the dreaded strat that every orc hates is the Crypt Lord, because he's freaking uncounterable. I mean, seriously, if you even go for, what's it called? What am I saying? Oh my god. Even if you get Spirit Walkers, it's still, pretty hard to beat him anyway, because all they can do is disenchant. So wow, you've killed 5 beetles and you've wasted like 400 gold doing that. Wow, man, you're good, because the beetles just come back after people die, which isn't very hard to do. And it's yes, you get some EXP for it, and you get rid of their meat shield for that amount of time. But if you use Spirit Link, it's destroy your food. And the Revive Tauren, well, I haven't seen that in forever, so I can't really comment on it. They're good casters. Like, Spirit Link is underrated, but you can't do jack when you've got destroyers. So what's going on here is he's doing not a favorite build of mine, which is Crypt Grave Zig Altar. If you get the altar before the Zig, you're fine, because as you can see, this guy's doing a 2 ghoul build, which works fine if you're not a noob. So whatever. But generally you go Crypt Grave Altar Zig, then you plant down another Ziggurat, and then you plant down your Tomb of Relics, and that'll allow you to pump fiends pretty steadily and whatnot. But etc. Don't know what to tell you. So in any event, this guy's a total noob. I don't know what to tell you, but there you go. Usually you're going to be able to pump out fiends a little bit faster. I'm not sure how this build exactly varied. Oh yeah, you'll actually get your first fiend out a little bit slower, but your second one will come out just on time. Just because of the slightly late Ziggurat. It's fine, because you'll get your 2 ghouls, and those will be out just in plenty of good shape. But now you can see what this guy's doing is he's not focus firing the wolves, and that's horrible, because as you can see, he's killed 1, but he's lost an acolyte. Good job, retard. And he uses the Crypt Lord to chase off the Farseer, which is actually pretty smart, because the Farseer then cannot continue to hit the acolytes, because he's going to be busy running away from the Crypt Lord. So yes, I'm commenting on the micro of it, but really, you shouldn't fear, and here's the sort of metagame part of it, you shouldn't fear the Farseer harass, because if you've got the Nerubian Tower, there's nothing wolves can do against you. And there's nothing a Blade Master can do against you, because you'll have the shop right there, and you can get dust. And, there's the other forms of harassment aren't exactly heard of, so there's not much I can say about that. If it's, a Farseer and Grunts, that's when the Nerubian Tower really kicks in, because if you've got Beetles with the Crypt Lord, you can use them plus the Nerubian Tower to pretty much kill a Grunt, while you use Fiends to focus the Wolves away, and you run your Acolytes around. As long as you focus the Wolves, you will be able to knock out, you will be able to gain some EXP from them, and you will be able to knock out those Wolves. As you can see, the Crypt Lord has already gained 60 EXP from the Wolves, as the Farseer has gained a total of 65 EXP from a Peon and 2 creeps. So the gold advantage is with AFN, because there was no Nerubian Tower, but as you can see, the Nerubian Tower is going up now, and he's going to be safe for a short time. He's making sure that the Farseer sort of stays the F away. He sends a beetle, as you can see, to scout, just to see what his opponent is doing, if there's some kind of crazy strats going on. He sees there's tier 2, and he sees there's 2 grunts out. Now, only 2 grunts and only tier 2 already means that he tacked before Brax, which means he's planning on fast raiders and whatnot. And there's no fast expansion, which would be pretty much impossible with just 3 grunts. I'm not sure exactly the build that you'd use to do that kind of thing, but that's always a possibility. But as you can see, he's trying to surround the Farseer, which kind of isn't happening. But you notice that AFN is trying to knock out some beetles for some EXP, and as you can see, he killed 2 beetles. But he's also about to lose 2 wolves, which, last time I checked, is in the favor of the Crypt Lord. And since it's really easy to summon more beetles, and a little bit harder to resummon the wolves, I think the Crypt Lord's kind of in an advantage here. As you can see, he got level 2 off of it. And AFN is, well, not leveling up yet. He's using his beetles to block just a little bit. He was trying to go for a surround, which, of course, can be quite game-turning. Wasting his TP early on from his harassment is very useful. Other than that, he's just trying to scare the Farseer away. It's not like crucial that he surrounds him, but focusing with the Fiends, trying to deal as much damage as possible. Now you can see AFN is not letting up, and since his opponent does not have coil, he's harassing as much as possible with those wolves, trying to deal some damage to the Fiends, hopefully so that it's enough that A, his creeping is slowed, and B, that if they attack later on, that he can grab a kill, but because of a weakened Fiend. And also with thirdly, with continuous harassment, he's hoping that he is able to actually kill a Fiend with his wolves, which I have seen done before, and is very effective because it's like, well, I just lost a Fiend to a single Farseer. Kind of bad. As you can see, there has been some grunt creeping going on from AFN, because the Farseer just leveled up, which means he has Chain Lightning, which is always nice, because you can Chain Lightning an Acolyte, which is a free Acolyte kill, and all that fun stuff. But as you can see, the Cold, Ruby Tower, and the Halls of the Dead are enough to knock out the wolves before an Acolyte dies, as long as you run the Acolyte away. So as you can see, especially when you've got Fiends focused fighting the wolves, that they're normally not able to kill Acolytes, it's worth spending 100/20, 100 gold, 20 wood for a Nubian Tower that will last you the whole game. So I mean, even if you're getting hit during tech, it'll still be there for you, and it'll save you an Acolyte. So that's always a smart thing to do. And now what he's doing right now is that he's crept his green camps, and now that he has that bit of an advantage, he's going to be trying to creep the stuff on his opponent's side of the map. Now he should be realizing that there is going to be raiders out by now, because last time he scouted he already had tier 2, which means he's just a minute away from getting a raider with Ensnare. So what he's trying to do is creep some camps that he's not expected to creep, which lowers his chances of being creepjacked. Now since he has so many summons with the beetles and skeletons, he's actually going to risk creeping this big camp, because really, even if he is creepjacked, he always has that reset button, the TP, and generally, he's not going to be expected to be creeping all the way over here, and especially not this caliber of a creep camp. I mean, with this big red camp with right next to his base, I mean, that's practically unheard of, so he's pretty safe actually creeping this, despite, the danger of being so close. So he's going to be getting himself to level 3, as quickly as possible, which is a big deal. And then moving on to try to do some harassment on his opponent's base, try to knock out a crucial building. He knows that the bestiary will be up already, but if he can kill a building, that's incredibly useful. You can see that the Rune of Mana brought the Death Knight right up to full mana, and he's going to be continuing creeping. Which I can't say I recommend, because he's not really going to level up too soon. He still needs another, 80-something experience on the Death Knight, so he will not get level 2 from this camp, as far as I know, unless he would be smart and actually move the Crypt Lord out of the way, so that his DK could take more EXP. That's one of the main things you want to do, is actually check your hero level, see who's closest, and then bring one of those heroes out of the way, so that the one who's closest can actually level up. Now you can see that there's a bestiary working on something. Now if you actually click the bestiary, you see that he's actually researching Ensnare, which means AFN is like, well, shit, I do not have Ensnare. However, he has a whole shitload of grunts, and as you can see, he got the fast Spirit Walkers, which really doesn't do a whole lot for him. Yes, it knocks out the beetles, but, well, I mean, that doesn't do exactly a ton. But seeing that there are raiders in the mix and that Ensnare has to be coming, he's going to preemptively TP. He's going to preemptively TP before he loses any Fiends, because 350 gold is better than 215 plus 60 experience. And he's going to have to TP anyway, because Ensnare just has a cooldown. He can Ensnare another one, and he'll just continue on like that, and it's definitely not worth it. So he's going to be trying just to TP out and save what he can, cut his losses while he's ahead or behind or whatever. I mean, he already forced a TP, and he already just grabbed a big camp. I mean, he's already in that kind of an advantage. Thinking that DK does get level 2, and now if he were smart, he'd actually run his DK back and get closer to level 4 on his Crypt Lord. Otherwise, he's just, splitting up the experience and they both, level up at the same time, which doesn't do a whole lot for him. Alternatively, he could rush for level 2 Coil, which wouldn't be unheard of. It'd actually be very, very effective. It'll heal both his Crypt Lord and his Fiends very well. But now with the addition of statues, it's not as big of a deal. However, now you see that he's building a Sacrificial Pit. What that means is he's interested to getting tier 3, he's going to be getting Frostworms. Now, Frostworms own Grunt Raider because the slowing effect allows the ranged units of Crypt Fiends actually stack up very well against his opponent. Now, what he's trying to do here is actually lure the creeps away so that he does not get creepjacked and owned. So by setting the Fiend out and then coming in, what he's doing is luring the creeps way out of the camp so that you can see the Bloodless Creep is not in effect at all. And the range creeps are sort of running back. The Ogre Lord is, getting weakened. He's really fighting only part of the camp at a time. And what this also does is, due to the fact that he's so far away from the bridge, if his opponent is to come in, he's not going to get creepjacked at all. And by hitting more of the creeps, again, the creeps start coming in to try to attack. Picks up the Tome of Experience and Claws, which means huge damage on his Crypt Lord. And as you can see, he picks up the Tome of EXP, looking at the numbers that he gets his level 3 Death Knight. And judging by how big the creeps are, he's actually assuming that he's going to get level 4 Crypt Lord, which he does. So as you can see, if he hadn't have gotten the Tomb on the Death Knight, let's see. Yeah, he would not have leveled his Death Knight. Or the Tome. I don't know if I said Tomb or Tome. But, he gauged the experience and gauged the numbers to get himself critical levels, getting that level up. Now you can see, again, he's keeping his Crypt Lord out of there so that he can get another critical level on his Death Knight. Because his Crypt Lord is, 500 EXP from leveling, which is a lot. However, with the Skeleton out there, he sees that he's getting creepjacked, so he's going to run out of there as fast as possible. He runs out of there, finishes off the Ogre Mauler because, doesn't want to give free experience. He wants to get closer to his level 4 Death Knight. He's going to back up, delay some time with that Skeleton, and he knows that he's going to get creepjacked, so he's getting on the Blight. Anytime you're creeping an orange camp or above, always have some kind of a summon or some kind of a tier 1 unit looking for a creepjack, because when you're creeping a camp that big and the armies are evenly matched, you're going to lose when you get creepjacked, especially when there's raiders that are going to pin you down, and when he doesn't have a TP, that's guaranteed losses. So what he's doing is he's picking up a Lich for even more slowing, in addition to his Frostworms so they don't stack. Being able to alternate between it is extremely useful. And as well, it's quite a lot of focus fire, so that units that are trying to run away, at 100 hit points and, not getting hit by Fiends can be Novad and killed, which is a big deal. Because, while, in this kind of a matchup, every unit counts when you can dispel the meat wall and, you can speed scroll and ensnare and get free kills. Being able to knock out the units that were going to be salved is a very, very big deal, because not only does it, of course, give you the kill, which means it's not going to come back later by being salved, but it also gives some experience, which will make his heroes level up a little bit sooner, which is, again, a big deal. Now, he gets the Orb of Corruption and the Claws of Attack on the Lich. The reason for that is, as you can see, his attack speed is innately fast, so Death Knight's average and the Crypt Lord is average. But the thing is, the Lich is ranged, and that means the Crypt Lord, he's going to be spending time, throwing his claws down and pulling up some kind of a beetle, or he's going to be just running around trying to be a tank, or running around because he's getting focused and needs to get coiled and run home to not get owned. Whereas the Lich is way back there, and if he is going to get focused and, speed scroll and ensnared, it'll be pretty easy for his opponent to see. So you can see that the Frost effect is going to nail him a free grunt kill. He impales it, and if he Novas, he should get that kill. However, he's a noob and is out of range. But you could have seen right there, Nova would have been a kill. However, he salves it, and it's going to live. So you can see that if he had gotten there, that Nova would have been a kill, which is a big deal. But now you can see he Nova's here, and with the slowing effect and the minus armor from the orb, he gets the kill. So as you can see, one Nova, one free grunt. So far, so good. Now you can see that the Crypt Lord's skill build is actually only one level on the Carapace and one level on Impale, because really, Obedios are useful since he has the Spirit Walkers, he's still going to get the skill points, but he doesn't need another +2 armor. 2 armor is not going to do a whole lot for him. It'll gain him a total of maybe 100 effective hit points, which of course is useful, but doesn't mean that much when he's already got, over 1,200 effective hit points. So really, what he's trying to do is just to get, some more forms of incapacitating his opponent's units. As you can see, his Crypt Lord's now in bad shape. He has to eat a potion and take a coil pretty soon. Takes a coil, and so really the Crypt Lord's close to impossible to kill even with only level 1 carapace, because raiders don't do any enhanced damage. Wyvern don't. All he's got are the grunts and the wolves, and decent damage from the heroes. So what's going on now is he's just trying to keep his fiends alive. He's running back what's getting injured, and really he's just buying time for his heir. He's trying to knock out as many grunts and raiders as he can. Actually, specifically trying to knock out as many wind raiders as he can, so that his frostworms are in very good shape. Now, N, I believe, saw the sacrificial pit, and so knew instinctively that there was going to be some frostworms going on. But what he's thinking is, okay, there's going to be frostworms. Bats don't cut it, or they really don't, because fiends will web them and then they're instant dead. That's what goes on right there. So what he's trying to do mostly is get Wyvern, which will work out a lot better, because even if they're ensnared, they can still fight. And they have that mobility and especially that damage type bonus with focus firing, that they can knock out wind riders frostworms in pretty good shape. Now, as you can see, 2 Wyvern versus a frostworm with some fiends in there. Fiends is web, and then they're going to be instantly killed. So and cannot fight a fight that he can't win. Although there aren't any fiends here right now, he realizes that there's the hero advantage, there's the frost effect of the worm. That means that he's not going to be able to get away. That's really one of the reasons that Frostworm is so good, is because you can perma-slow even a hero, which is a big deal because they're not going to get away. As you can see, he's going to have to use a potion because he's been slowed. Now you're going to see right here that this wind red is not going to be able to get away if N chooses to continue to fight. However, you can see that if there aren't any fiends around, bats work, and so that's what N was really trying to do, is actually. So I guess I sort of misspoke myself there in a way. He's trying to get rid of those fiends so that he can actually do well with the Wyvern and with the bats. And so he does that, and as you can see, he's close to being hero nukes. He has a TP. That's one of the main things is, oh look, Coil, good game, you. So if you're going to TP, make sure you target it well, because you just got owned. He just got owned because of pretty bad TP. Now you can see, with the fiends there, he gets to web the bats, and that turns into a free kill. Now he could take those fiends and just focus fire it, but he's lazy and a bum, and he wants to get rid of the expansion. Now, the metagame aspect of this game, what's going to happen is the progression goes from fiends versus grunt raider to air versus air. Now the air is going to be in the form of Wyvern, because bats are going to get webbed unless you're very good at knocking out the fiends. If there are no fiends, bats will own, I'll give you that. However, if there are fiends, bats will suck ass, and they're not going to do shit for you. So the main thing you want to do is to either knock out the fiends and then go bats, or alternatively, if you can pull this off, which is probably not going to happen ever, but you want to distract the fiends so they start focus firing, then pull in the bats with the speed scroll, which is highly unlikely because anyone with decent vision is going to expect, where's the counter to my frostworms? And besides the fact, really, there's no reason for Undead to focus fire if they've got air plus fiends versus Grunt Raider. I mean, they're going to win the fight without focus firing, so really they're just going to be safe and attack move, and just wait for the bats to come in and then instantly web them and make them useless. So what you really have to do is knock out the fiends. Good luck with that. Can work, but good luck with that. Or go with a mass wyvern thing, and do that kind of a thing. However, as you can see, he got his frostworm in front, which is a bad choice. He just stuck his frostworm out there, which is horrible vision, because he should have seen that there were bats out there. And what you do is you let your fiends auto attack. You just control click a fiend, press the S key, and then control click all your air, and just right click them back a little bit. As soon as the bats come by, they'll be webbed. Then you can start fighting again. And if you want to focus fire the bats, you can. You don't really have to, because they will last down in that web for 10 or 12 seconds. That'll give you time to kill frostworms or grunts or whatever you want to kill. It's not that big of a deal. As you can see, Disenchant does do pretty well against beetles, but even then, that's all it's good for, is they kill 4 beetles. Wow, but he spent 500, 600 gold, by getting that Spirit Walker and the tech for it, And even then, he doesn't have that much mana. I mean, he's already, out of mana. Coil Nova kills it instantly. So, and Frostworms especially, because they have magic damage. Spirit Walkers, they don't do well against Undead Air, because they simply, finding you can beat the Cripplord, but that's all you got. And that's really not a good ability. Shaman are good in Orc versus Human, because you can press the water metals. You can also purge units. You can also Lightning Shield. You can also use Bloodlust. He's good for multiple things. getting a unit that only disenchants is a waste of a unit, because that's the only ability he's going to have, and that's not a big deal. You know, just like even with priests, you know, well, luckily for them, their initiate spell is actually very good, and they use the Sanctum for 2 kinds of casters. But when you get, you know, Spirit Lodge just for 1 adept caster, that does nothing for you. So really, you can see their chat right here. You know, get the Torn and get the Resurrecting guys, which, yeah, good luck with that, getting to tier 3 undisturbed. No, he did get to tier 3, but, I mean, he had no room to build a Torn Totem, and, you know, if he did build the Torn Totem, he'd have no anti-air, which, you know what he's saying, so it's very tough for the Orc Blade to actually do anything. What you gotta do, really, is try to get fast tier 3, or Mass Wyvern, and then outplay him. If you Mass Wyvern and you get a bunch of creep jacks, you're gonna keep his unit count low, by forcing TPs, which will allow you to continue to mass out Wyvern, get yourself a free expansion, get yourself through the upgrades, which owns Fiends, by the way, especially with Poison, and then continue on with 80 foot of Wyvern, high level AoE spells, and then you just work them down. You know, you get FSTC SH, you're going to have great healing, especially with your level 3 armor upgrades. You're going to be, you know, it's going to be very, very effective healing. And with CL and Shockwave, you're going to be ripping through those Fiends. You know, he's going to have to use 2 heal scrolls for, you know, 1 cast of Chain Lightning Shockwave, of Chainwave, and then 10 seconds later do it again, and now he doesn't have any healing scrolls, and you can just continue to rip through him. So, what I guess you should see from this replay from the Undead perspective is really just have some patience. You know, he didn't rush any attacks. He attacked at one time because he figured he's not going to have any counters to my Crypt Lord. So, you know, that's when I have the advantage, is that's the timing, is right after you get, like, level 3 Crypt Lord, and, you know, you get close to level 2 Death Knight. Specifically just, you know, making sure you have coil and you have close to 50 food. That's when you attack, and you try to deal some critical damage, killing burrows or whatnot, because if they don't have Ensnare yet, they're not going to win that fight very easily. And if AFN's lucky that he had Disenchant, if he gotten faster Ensnare instead of Disenchant, he probably wouldn't have won that fight very well, because those beetles really would have ripped his army up really well and tanked very well. So AFN was, I guess, smart to get those Spearwalkers, and there's no doubt that they're useful, but the fact that that's all they can do makes them almost a waste of money. I mean, they're practically crucial, but they cost so much getting them in there that it's almost not worth it. And just the fact that you have to build, you know, 3 different buildings, and, you know, get researchers and all of those kind of guys, and, you know, get all these different items in your heroes. You know, well, the Undead hardly had any items at all, you know. He actually sold most of the items he got just for more units, because being able to outmass N, you know, he just beat him with the Air and Fiend combo, because, you know, even though he killed, you know, the Frostworm early on, killed all the Fiends, you know, the heroes are still there with their statues. As soon as 2 more Fiends came and another Frostworm came, there's nothing N could do, provided Eboon actually microed well. You know, he had bad vision and lost another Frostworm, but really another one came by and it didn't matter anymore, because really, once the Undead steamroller starts, there's not much you can do to stop it. And so that's one of the things you want to do as Undead, is get yourself those high-level heroes that are essentially unkillable, get your combos that are hard to kill, and then you're set. You know, you get your Air plus Fiends, or you can even get, like, solid Air if you've got armor upgrades and whatnot, or really good nuking. And from there you can just, you know, straight up win from that. So, this will be Phreak signing out.